The research ship Harmony's Edge floated quietly in the dark space between stars. Captain Yuki looked out the main window at the beautiful colors of a distant nebula. Her team had been studying old star formations for 3 months now. Everything was peaceful. "Captain, we're getting some strange readings," said Nara from her position at the communications desk. Her 4 arms moved quickly across the control panels. The Zeltharians were tall, thin creatures with pale blue skin and large eyes that helped them see in the dark depths of space. "YUK?" I walked over to check the readings. "What kind of strange readings?" "Ships approaching fast, very fast." Nara's voice shook a little. "Captain, I think they're pirates." The peaceful quiet of the ship suddenly felt different. Yuki had heard stories about the Korthok pirates, but her people had never actually met them. The Zeltharians spent their time learning about stars and planets. They had no weapons on their ships. They had never needed any. "How many ships?" Yuki asked. "5 large ones and maybe 10 smaller fighters," Nara replied. Her tentacle-like fingers moved nervously over the controls. "They'll be here in 20 minutes. Yuki felt her heart beating faster. She had been captain of research ships for 15 years, but she had never faced anything like this. "Can we run?" "No, Captain. Our engines are too slow. They're built for long journeys, not for escaping." The crew gathered around Yuki. There were 12 Zeltharians on the ship, all scientists and researchers. Dr. Vela studied plant life from different worlds. Engineer Hawks knew everything about star engines, but nothing about fighting. Communications Officer Nara could speak 20 different alien languages, but had never heard a war cry. "What do pirates want?" asked young scientist Kem. He was new to space travel and had never left his home planet before this mission. "Usually they take anything valuable," Yuki said quietly. "Ships, equipment, sometimes prisoners to sell as slaves." The crew looked at each other with growing fear. They had always believed the galaxy was full of peaceful creatures like themselves. They thought everyone wanted to learn and explore and share knowledge. The idea that some beings chose to hurt others was hard for them to understand. "Captain," Nara called out, "they're sending us a message. Put it on the main screen." The face that appeared was ugly and mean. The Korthok had thick gray skin, small red eyes, and sharp teeth. "Zeltharian ship. This is Captain Grex of the Korthok. Raiders, stop your engines and prepare to be boarded. Do not resist, and you might live." The message ended, and the screen went dark. "What do we do?" whispered Dr. Vela. "YUK," I thought quickly. They could not fight. They could not run. They could not hide. "Nara, send out a distress signal on all emergency channels. Maybe someone will hear us. But Captain, we're so far from any major space routes. No one comes out here except researchers like us. Do it anyway. It's our only chance." Nara began broadcasting their emergency message. "This is the research vessel Harmony's Edge. We are under attack by pirates. Our position is Sector 7 Alpha 9. We need immediate help. Any peaceful ships in the area? Please respond. We are a science vessel with no weapons. Please help us." Through the windows, they could now see the pirate ships getting closer. The Korthok vessels were dark and covered with spikes and weapons. They looked like metal beasts hunting in space. "Captain, they're jamming our communications," Nara reported. "I don't know if our distress signal got through." The ship shook as the pirates began their attack. They were not trying to destroy the Harmony's Edge, just damage it enough so it could not escape. Lights flickered on and off. Hot. Warning alarms started beeping loudly. "Hull breach in Section 3, called Engineer Hawks, and Section 5. They're cutting through our outer walls." Yuki gathered her crew in the main laboratory, the strongest part of the ship. "Listen, everyone. We are scientists. We have always solved problems by thinking and working together. We cannot fight these pirates, but we can try to survive until help comes." "What if no one heard our message?" asked Kem. "Then we face whatever happens with dignity," Yuki replied. "We are explorers. We came out here to discover new things. Today, we discovered that the galaxy can be dangerous. But we also discovered how brave we can be when we face danger together." The ship shook again, harder this time. You could hear the sound of metal being cut and torn. As the pirates were almost inside, Captain Nara whispered, still trying to work her damaged communication equipment. I'm still sending the distress signal. Maybe someone will hear it. Maybe someone will come. Keep trying, Yuki said. She looked at her crew, these gentle creatures who had spent their lives studying the beauty of space. Facing the first real evil they had ever encountered, the sound of the pirates breaking through the hole grew louder. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors of their peaceful research ship. YUKI closed her eyes and hoped that somewhere in the vast darkness of space, someone had heard their call for help. 3 hours had passed since the Korthak. Pirates broke into the Harmony's edge. Captain Yuki and her crew sat in the cargo hold, their hands tied behind their backs. The pirates had taken everything valuable they could find and were now preparing. To take the ship itself, Captain Grex walked among the Zeltharian prisoners, his boots making loud sounds on the metal floor. Your ship will bring good money, he said, with an ugly smile. And you scientists will work in our mines until you die. Young scientist Kem tried not to cry. Dr. Vela whispered quiet prayers in her native language. Engineer Hawk stared at the floor, thinking about his family back home, who would never know what happened to him. Captain, one of the pirates called from the bridge. I'm getting some strange readings on the long-range sensors. What kind of readings? Grex shouted back. Ships approaching. Big ones. Really big ones. Grex laughed. Probably more traders to rob. How many? There was a long pause. Captain, you need to see this. Grex walked to the bridge, leaving 2 guards. To watch the prisoners. Uki could hear him talking to his crew, but his voice was getting louder and more worried. That's impossible, Grex yelled. No fleet is that big. Check the sensors again. I've checked them 5 times, Captain. It's 12 massive ships and at least 30 smaller ones. They're all military vessels. It's military. Unknown design, Captain. I've never seen ships like these before.
Dice suddenly.
Space around the Harmonies. Edge exploded with light. Huge ships appeared from nowhere as if they had been hiding in the darkness between stars. The pirate ships looked like tiny insects next to these new vessels. On the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, Admiral Haynes stood perfectly still, watching the tactical display. His uniform was neat and clean, and his eyes were calm but cold. He had been conducting training exercises with his fleet when they received the distress signal. Port, he said quietly. Lieutenant Mira worked quickly at her station. Sir, we have 1 civilian research vessel surrounded by 5 pirate ships. The pirates have boarded the civilian vessel. Life signs show prisoners aboard. Identification of the pirates? Syndicate, sir, known for attacking unarmed ships and selling prisoners as slaves. Admiral Han nodded once. All ships, this is Admiral Han. We have civilians under attack. Rules of engagement are simple. Destroy all hostile vessels. Keep the civilian ship safe. The Korthok pirates had never seen anything like the human fleet. Each human ship was 3 times bigger than their largest vessel, and covered with more weapons than they had ever imagined. The humans moved with perfect coordination, like they had practiced this exact situation 1,000 times. Unknown ships, Captain Grex broadcast on all frequencies. This is Captain Grex of the Korthok Syndicate. We claim salvage rights on this vessel. Leave immediately or face the consequences. Admiral Hines' response was simple and direct. This is Admiral Hine of the Terran Defense Force. You have attacked peaceful civilians. Surrender immediately. Or be destroyed, Terran. Grex had never heard of humans before. We outnumber you 5 to 1. You are mistaken, Admiral Han replied. We outnumber you 12 to 1. And we are not pirates. We are soldiers. The first human attack came without warning. Brilliant beams of energy struck 3 pirate ships. At the same time, the Korthok vessels exploded in seconds, their crews never knowing what hit them. Impossible, Grex screamed. No species fights like this. The remaining pirate ships tried to run, but the human fighters were faster. They moved through space like deadly birds, hunting down every enemy vessel. The pirates who had terrorized peaceful ships for years now felt terror themselves on the Harmony's edge. The Zeltharian prisoners watched in amazement as the battle ended in less than 10 minutes. The pirates who had seemed so powerful and scary were now running for their lives. Commander June led the human marines who boarded the research vessel. He was tall and strong, wearing armor that made him look like a metal warrior. But when he saw the frightened Zeltharian prisoners, his voice became gentle. "You are safe now," he said, in perfect Zeltharian language. "We received your distress signal. Are any of you hurt?" Captain Yuki stared at this human warrior who spoke her language and showed kindness to strangers. "How did you learn our language?" "Our computers analyzed your distress signal and learned your speech patterns," Commander June explained while cutting their ropes. "We wanted to communicate with you properly." Dr. Vela could not believe what she was seeing. It came all this way to help us, but you don't even know us. "You called for help," Commander June said simply. That was enough. The human medics quickly treated the injured Zeltharians while the engineers began fixing the damaged ship. Captain Grex and his surviving pirates were taken prisoner, but they kept staring at the humans with fear and confusion. "What are you?" Grex finally asked. Admiral Han looked at the pirate captain with cold eyes. "We are what happens when you attack the innocent." As the human fleet prepared to escort the Harmony's Edge to safety, Captain Yuki realized that her people's understanding of the galaxy had changed forever. They were no longer alone among the stars. Admiral Han stood in the main meeting room of the Indomitable, looking at the reports from his officers. This was the first time humans had met another peaceful alien race, and every decision he made now would shape how other species saw humanity forever. "Sir," said Lieutenant Mira, "the Zeltharian ship is stable now. Our engineers fixed their engines and life support systems. But we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The Zeltharians are afraid of us. They think we might be another type of warrior race, like the pirates." Admiral Han understood their fear. The human fleet had destroyed 5 pirate ships in 10 minutes. 2 peaceful creatures like the Zeltharians, humans might seem just as dangerous as the Korthok pirates. "Bring Dr. Kai to the meeting room," Admiral Han ordered, "and prepare the diplomatic suite. We need to show these aliens that we're different from the pirates." Dr. Kai was the fleet's chief scientist who studied alien life forms. She was excited about meeting the Zeltharians, but also nervous. "Admiral, this is the most important first contact in human history. What we do now will be remembered forever." "I know," Admiral Han replied. "That's why we're going to do it right." On the Harmony's Edge, Captain Yuki gathered her crew in the repaired main laboratory. They were safe now, but they had many questions about these mysterious humans. "Captain," said Engineer Hawks, "the human engineers didn't just fix our ship, they made it better. Our engines are now twice as powerful as before. They gave us new defensive shields," added Communications Officer Nara. "But why would they help us so much? What do they want from us?" Before Captain Yuki could answer, her communication system activated. A human face appeared on the screen. It was a woman, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. "Greetings, Captain Yuki. I am Dr. Kai of the Terran Defense Force. Admiral Hyan would like to meet with you aboard our ship to discuss your safety and future travel plans. Would this be acceptable?" Captain Yuki looked at her crew. They were still scared, but they were also curious. "Dr. Kai, will we be safe on your ship?" "You have my word as a scientist and as a human being," Dr. Kai replied. "We saved you from the pirates because it was the right thing to do. We want nothing from you except the chance to show you that not all powerful species are evil." An hour later, Captain Yuki and Dr. Vela traveled to the human flagship in a small transport ship. As they approached the Indomitable, they were amazed by its size. The human ship was like a small city floating in space. The docking bay was clean and bright, nothing like the dark, ugly pirate ships. Human crew members worked quietly and efficiently, maintaining their equipment and preparing their vehicles. Everything was organized and purposeful. Commander June met them at the airlock. He had removed his battle armor and now wore a simple, blue uniform. "Welcome aboard the Indomitable. Admiral Hyan is waiting to meet you." As they walked through the ship's corridors, Captain Yuki noticed something important. The human ship had weapons and military equipment, but it also had laboratories, medical centers, and libraries. These humans were warriors, but they were also scientists, doctors, and teachers. Admiral Hayan waited in a comfortable room with large windows that showed the stars outside. He was younger than Captain Yuki had expected, and his manner was calm and respectful. "Captain Yuki, thank you for accepting our invitation. Please, sit down. Would you like some water or food?" "Thank you, Admiral Han. We are grateful for your help, but we must ask, what do you want from us?" "In our experience, no one helps strangers without expecting something in return." Admiral Hayan smiled sadly. "I understand your suspicion. You've just learned that the galaxy contains evil creatures like the Korthok pirates, but Captain, not all strong species are evil. Humans believe that those who have power should use it to protect those who cannot protect themselves." Dr. Kai showed the Zeltharians a star map. "Your people explore space to learn about the universe. Our people explore space to find new friends, and to help anyone who needs it. We're not so different." Dr. Vila studied the humans carefully. "But you're warriors. We saw how quickly you destroyed the pirate ships." "Yes, we are warriors when we need to be," Admiral Hayan admitted. "But we are also scientists, doctors, engineers, artists, and teachers. Humans believe that a civilization should be able to both create beautiful things and defend them from those who would destroy them." Captain Yuki was quiet for a long moment. "Admiral, our people have never met a species like yours. We have always believed that civilizations choose to be either peaceful or warlike. You seem to be both." "Perhaps that's what the galaxy needs," Dr. Kai suggested. "Species that are strong enough to fight evil, but wise enough to choose peace." "Lieutenant." Jin entered the room carrying a small device. "Captain Yuki, we've installed new communication equipment on your ship. If you encounter any more pirates or other dangers, you can contact us immediately. We patrol this region of space regularly now. You would come to help us again?" Dr. Vela asked in surprise. "Of course," Admiral Han replied. "That's what friends do." As Captain Yuki prepared to return to her ship, she realized that the galaxy was much more complicated than her people had believed. There was evil like the Korthok pirates, but there was also good like these humans who risked their lives to save strangers. "Admiral Hayun," she said at the airlock, "our government will want to meet with your government. We have much to discuss." "We would be honored," Admiral Hayan replied. "The galaxy is big enough for all peaceful species to share." Captain Yuki stood before the High Council of the Zeltharian Federation on her home planet, the Great Meeting. Hall was filled with the most important leaders of her people. They had called this emergency session after receiving her report about the humans. "Council members," Captain Yuki began, "what I am about to tell you will change how we see the galaxy forever." Elder Zara, the oldest member of the council, spoke first. "Captain Yuki, your report mentions a new species called humans, you say. They destroyed 5 pirate ships in minutes, then helped repair your vessel. This seems impossible." "I have video recordings and data logs to prove everything," Captain Yuki replied. She activated the large screen behind her, showing the battle between the humans and the Korthok pirates. The council members watched in silence. As the human ships appeared from nowhere and destroyed the pirate fleet with deadly precision, then they saw the same humans carefully rescuing the Zeltharian crew and repairing their ship. "Incredible," whispered Counselor Vex. "They fight like the ancient war gods, but they show mercy like the wisest teachers." "There's more," Captain Yuki continued. "The humans told me about the other major powers in the galaxy. We are not alone, and we are not the only peaceful species." She showed them a galactic map that Dr. Kai had given her. "The Drakmori Empire controls this region. They are warriors who value honor and strength. The Quellian Trade Union controls the major shipping routes. They are merchants who care mostly about profit and business." Elder Zara studied the map carefully. "And where do we fit in this galactic community? According to the humans, we Zeltharians are known as the greatest scientists and researchers in the galaxy. Other species respect our knowledge, but some see us as weak because we have no military power." "What about these humans?" asked Counselor Tech. Where did they come from? That's the most interesting part, Captain Yuki replied. The humans come from a region of space that other species thought was empty. They have been watching and learning about the galaxy for years. But this was their first direct contact with any alien species. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the Drakmori Empire was also learning about humanity. General Cax stood in the war room of the Imperial Palace, reading reports from Drakmori spies. My lord, General Cax said to Emperor Drex, our intelligence officers have confirmed the reports. A new species has entered galactic politics. They call themselves humans. Emperor Drex was a massive creature with thick armor-like skin and glowing red eyes. What do we know about their military capabilities? They destroyed an entire Korthok pirate fleet in less than 10 minutes. Our analysis shows their technology is equal to ours, possibly better. But most importantly, they fight with perfect coordination and discipline. Are they a threat to our empire? Unknown, my lord. They rescued a Zeltharian research ship, which suggests they may be protectors rather than conquerors. But any species that can destroy the Korthok pirates so easily must be taken seriously. In the commercial centers of the Quellian trade union, merchants and business leaders were having their own discussions about humanity. Trade Minister Flux addressed the Commerce Council in the great marketplace of Quell Prime. Fellow traders, Minister Flux announced, we have a new opportunity. This human species has advanced technology and appears to be interested in peaceful contact. If we can establish trade relations with them, we could make enormous profits. Merchant. Captain Zill raised a tentacle. But Minister, what if they're not interested in trade? What if they're like the Drakmori and only care about war? Our reports suggest otherwise, Minister Flux replied. The humans helped the Zeltharians without asking for payment. This suggests they have resources and don't need to take things from others. Species with plenty of resources often make the best trading partners. Back on Earth, President Lee sat in the Situation Room with her top advisors. They had been monitoring all the galactic communication networks since the rescue of the Harmony's Edge. Madam President, said Director Park of the Intelligence Service, the entire galaxy is talking about us. Every major species is trying to figure out what humans want and whether we're a threat. What are they saying? President Lee asked. Zeltharians want to form an alliance with us. They're offering to share their scientific knowledge in exchange for protection. The Drakmori Empire is being cautious but respectful. They seem to admire our military efficiency. The Quellian Trade Union. They want to establish trade relations. They've already sent 3 diplomatic messages offering to exchange goods. In technology, Ambassador Tay, who had been chosen to lead humanity's first diplomatic mission to the galaxy, studied the reports carefully. Madam President, we have an opportunity to shape the future of galactic civilization. The question is, what kind of role do we want to play? President Lee looked at the star map on the wall, showing the locations of all the major alien civilizations. We want to be the species that other peaceful civilizations can count on. If there are more pirates like the Korthok Syndicate out there, we want to be the ones who stop them. And if there are species like the Zeltharians who need protection, then we protect them, President Lee said firmly. That's what makes us human. 3 months later, the news had spread to every corner of the galaxy. The Korthok Syndicate was falling apart as their surviving members fled to distant systems. Rather than risk encountering human patrols, peaceful species were beginning to explore regions of space that had been too dangerous before. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the center of that change. 6 months after the rescue of the Harmony's Edge, Admiral Hayon stood on the observation deck of the New Harmony Station. The space station was built together by humans and Zeltharians, floating peacefully in the same region where pirates had once attacked innocent ships. Through the large windows, could see ships from many different species coming and going. Zeltharian research vessels worked alongside human patrol ships. Quellian trade ships brought goods from across the galaxy. Even a few Drakmori military vessels had come to observe the new cooperation between species. Admiral Commander Sue approached with her daily report. We have some interesting news from across the galaxy. Kinda news. The Korthok Syndicate has completely fallen apart. The last of their leaders surrendered to Drakmori authorities yesterday, rather than risk meeting our patrols. Piracy in this sector has dropped by 90%. Admiral Hand smiled. The galaxy was becoming a safer place. They had barely fired a shot since that first encounter with the pirates. Captain Yuki walked onto the observation deck, carrying a datapad full of research findings. She had been working on the station for 3 months now, leading a joint scientific mission with human researchers. Admiral Hyan, I have the latest reports from our exploration teams, she said. We've discovered 5 new star systems that were previously too dangerous to explore. Now that the pirates are gone, we can study them safely. Any interesting discoveries? Dr. Kai's team found evidence of ancient civilizations in the Nexus system. And Engineer Hawks thinks he's found a new type of energy source that could power entire planets. Admiral Hayne was pleased. This was exactly what he had hoped would happen. When humans first entered galactic society, instead of conquest and war, they were seeing exploration and discovery. Lieutenant Mira called from the communication center. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Drakmori Empire. Emperor Drex wants to speak with you personally. The main screen activated, showing the massive form of Emperor Drex in his throne room. The Drakmori leader looked as intimidating as ever, but his voice carried a tone of respect. Admiral Hayan of the humans, Emperor Drex began. 6 months ago, my empire viewed your species with suspicion. We thought you might be conquerors seeking to challenge our power. Noun, Emperor Drex. Now we see that you are something more valuable than conquerors. You are protectors. The Drakmori Empire has always respected strength, but we have learned to respect wisdom as well. We would like to propose a treaty of mutual defense, Admiral. Hyun was surprised. The Drakmori had never allied with any other species before. What kind of treaty? If any hostile force threatens the peaceful species under your protection, the Drakmori military will assist you. In return, if any enemy attacks our empire, we hope you will consider helping us. The Drakmori Empire has never needed help from anyone, Admiral Han observed. Emperor Drex's expression became serious. That was before we knew about the Void Hunters. Void Hunters. Ancient enemies from the dark space between galaxies, our oldest records speak of them. They consume entire civilizations, leaving nothing behind. We thought they were just legends, but our deep space scouts have detected their ships moving toward our galaxy. Admiral Hyan felt a chill. The galaxy had just found peace, and now they faced a threat that could destroy everything. Dr. Kai entered the communication room. Having heard the last part of the conversation, Emperor Drex, how long do we have?
Yeah.
Our best estimate is 2 years. Before they reach the outer systems, but Admiral Han, this threat is too great for any single species to face alone. We will need the Drakmori military, human technology, Zeltharian science, and Quellian resources working together. After the transmission ended, Admiral Hayan called an emergency meeting with all the station's leaders. Captain Yuki, Dr. Kai, Commander Su, and even Trade Representative Zex from the Quellian Union gathered in the main conference room. We have a new situation, Admiral Han explained. The galaxy may face an invasion from outside enemies. We need to prepare for the possibility of defending not just individual species, but all civilized life. Captain Yuki was the first to speak. The Zeltharian Federation will share all our scientific knowledge to help develop new defenses. The Quellian Trade Union will provide ships and resources, added Representative Zex. This threat could destroy all our trade routes. We must work together. Dr. Kai studied the star charts on the table. If we combine Drakmori military experience, human tactical flexibility, Zeltharian science, and Quellian logistics, we might have a chance. There's something else, Admiral Han said. 6 months ago, each species in the galaxy worked alone. The Drakmori conquered, the Zeltharians studied, the Quellians traded, and pirates like the Korthok took what they wanted. But now, now we work together, Captain Yuki finished. The pirates are gone because we united against them. Maybe that's what we need to face this new threat. Commander Su activated the long-range communication system. Admiral, I'm detecting Incoming messages from dozens of species across the galaxy. Word about the Void Hunters is spreading fast. What are they saying? They're all asking the same question. Will the humans help defend the galaxy? Admiral Hayne looked around the room at his friends from different worlds. 6 months ago, they had been strangers. Now they were allies, ready to face any threat together. Send the same message to every species, he said. Tell them that humans don't abandon their friends. The galaxy stands together, or it falls together. Outside the station, ships from a dozen different species began arriving, ready to join the greatest alliance in galactic history.